Well, thanks to Kaz's Twitter, we of course have our latest batch of 3 silhouette teasers for the coming week in the newest update in GT7. Now, will this continue the trend of having a circuit in every other update, which would mean since the last one didn't, this one might? Well, we'll have to wait and see for the trailer to know that for sure. I certainly hope so, but the 3 cars here add, interestingly, even more legitimacy to that massive 80-plus vehicle leaked list, which I covered, of course, in a video here on the channel. So, again, if by some miracle you haven't watched that video already, I'll put an annotation here at the top of the screen and at the end of the video on screen so that you can check it out if you want to see some of the other cars. It's kind of spoilery, but who really cares? It's a racing game. So, the 3 cars, we're going to work in a clockwork fashion from top left. And this is, of course, a car that makes total sense. It's another Porsche. They have a great relationship with Porsche, kind of like how Nissan used to be the favoured one in Gran Turismo. And it is the Cayman GT4. It's such an obvious choice because we already have the racing version. The Group 4 car, of course, it's a nice one to work with, but not having the road car was always a bit of a miss. Kind of like how there were certain others that don't have road versions, like there's no BMW M6 road car, there's no Audi R8 of the newer generation, etc. There's not even a Beetle road car, although I think many people would probably give that a miss anyway. This one, though, I think could be a really useful car. It's more modest, doubtless, than something like a 911 GT3 RS. In terms of the point level, in terms of the power, you won't have to necessarily restrict it or neuter it as much with balance of performance for it to be really good. At least that's what I'm expecting. Then, though, we have another classic muscle car, brand new to the series, hugely significant as well. Of course, one of the most iconic muscle cars of all time, the '69 Pontiac Gto Judge, as it's often called. As I said, super iconic. What more is there really to say? I'm looking forward to having another muscle car in the game, and although it might not be as useful as the other 2 in the pack in terms of being competitive in racing, I would urge you to, and I haven't driven it yet of course, but I would urge you to keep an open mind as far as how good this could be for more modest point levels. I recall personally, for example, back in GT6 that the Chevy Nova was a deceptively good car around the, I think, 450 to 500 point level, and it could shock people by how good it was. Last and definitely not least, though, we have the token formula car, you could say. Often a Gran Turismo game will have 1, maybe 2, real-world formula cars. And, of course, in the past we had Senna's Lotus, we had the Ferraris in Gran Turismo 5, etc. Of course, more recently in GT Sport, we had the Mercedes, and it appears, at least for now, that this is going to be that car in GT7, the Mclaren Mp4-4. Again, super iconic. That and the Pontiac, 2 of the most iconic cars in their field. And of course, it's going to be fast, that goes without saying, but in terms of how useful it will be, well, you know it's going to have an extremely high point level, but if nothing else, it should give a pretty good battle, or at least a pretty good comparison to the F1500 TA, which itself, of course, is a watered-down, non-licensed version of the Lotus, Senna's Lotus from GT6. So ultimately, it's only 3 cars, which of course you can always complain about. I'm not saying I'm a fan of only having 3 cars by any stretch, but at least the 3 cars that they chose look to be pretty good ones again. And I would say that the overall vibe of the pack definitely swings more toward competition. The Cayman, you know it's going to be good. The McLaren, of course it's going to be good. The Pontiac, I think, could very well be good for classic and muscle car racing. So this could very well be a competitive pack overall. In terms of the circuit, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm certainly hoping that there is one. As far as predicting that, well, there's not really much point. So we'll, I guess, just have to wait and see. But you could always put your predictions down below on what you think the circuit could be, and then we'll be able to look back and see who was right, who was wrong, and who was maybe close. So, of course, stick around on the channel. I will obviously be reviewing the pack in the coming week. Chances are 2 of the cars are probably going to be in the Legends dealership. The Porsche, I would imagine, will be in the main dealer, and then the Pontiac and the McLaren probably in the Legends dealership. In terms of pricing, I mean, it's anyone's guess, to be honest. The Cayman, probably 6 figures, maybe 100, 200 grand, something like that. I'm expecting the Pontiac to be, I don't really know, could be anywhere between 50 grand and maybe 150 grand, I would have thought. Somewhere in that region. And as far as the McLaren, well, who knows? It's an iconic Formula car. Looks to be a licensed Formula car as well, which could make it worth even more. I would say maybe 2 million for the McLaren. Could be more, maybe 3. Probably somewhere in that region. So that's it for my thoughts. Give me yours down below, and as I said, stick around on the channel for reviews, maybe even some tunes, and certainly to see if a circuit is included as well. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.